Welcome to Reindeer Games. We're back.
Welcome.
I'm Tammy.
And I'm Marilyn.
And we're going to talk to you today about free motion quilting.
And we have lots of goodies to share with you today.
We do. Some of our favorite things for free motion quilting and getting those quilts done and bound and out the door, focusing on the quilting. And if you need some practice, we have the skill builder panels. Again, I'll pop a full picture into the video so you can see what you're dealing with. These have the designs drawn out on them and they don't wash away. What I usually suggest to people is to take one of these, back it with some either some busy fabric or some plain fabric. It's totally up to you. And then you get a quilt on the reverse when you've quilted in nice colorful thread if you use a plain fabric. Or you can hide it if you use
Not
a
a
busy
bad idea
fabric.
if you're just starting out. It's great for practicing and building your skills because there's nothing like practicing to get better and better. I know a lot of people are really nervous about free motion quilting.
Yeah.
But it's like anything else, the more you practice, the easier it gets, the more creative you can be, and the better your quilting is.
Exactly. And you don't want to be practicing on those quilts that you've put a lot of time into piecing and then end up ruining them. I mean, not to say that you would ruin them, but that's how some people feel when it doesn't come out the way that they envisioned in their head.
They're not as happy with it as they would like to be.
So having those little test squares and stuff like that to practice on is always, always a great idea. These just give you sort of a guideline or like a quilter's prompt, if you will, to start out on your practicing journey. So there are two different ones. I can't remember which panel is which. The Skill Builder 2, which is this one, is mostly feathers. So you can practice those. And this one is a little bit of everything. Some feathers, some hearts, some
leaf designs.
Yep.
And,
some stitch in the ditch, all kinds of stuff. So you can take one or both. And we also have the little Skill Builder companion book to go along with it, which gives you more ideas on what to use your panels for, what to practice quilting with, all kinds of stuff. What else do we have?
Oh, lots of goodies. If for marking quilts,
Yep.
we have the Bowen chalk markers, and we also have refills in lots of different colors: yellow, white, gray, and this beautiful
Green.
It's green, but it looks turquoise. That's my color. And because obviously white doesn't work very well on a white or a very light fabric. And they're great. They give you a nice crisp straight line and they brush off very easily. If I ever have any trouble, I just find if you wipe with a bit of the fabric, it just disappears, and great to follow if you're doing your own. If you don't want to just wing it and you want some lines to follow, they're great, very useful tools. And for marking for other things too, not just for free motion quilting.
Absolutely. I usually take like a scrap of batting. A poly batting works really well, like some Thermalam or whatever, spritz it with some water and rub it off. I find that works really well. And then you're not using any kind of chemicals or anything like that. And you're not getting the fabric too wet as well.
Good idea.
To maybe risk bleeding if you're worried about that. So yeah, we have those in the 5 different colors, 4 different colors.
4, because I think the white comes with the pen.
Yep.
And the refills work in the pen.
So those are awesome.
And for controlling your quilt when you're doing the free motion quilting, if you've ever tried it without any assistance, you know your hands can get really tired and cramped, and so you have to stop a lot. Huge difference if you use either the gloves, the machingers, or the grabberoos, or the little foam pads, the grip and stitch, which you hold one in each hand. And these are nice because your hands are free for threading needles or picking things, whereas with the gloves, you have to take the glove off, on and off all the time, which can be a bit of a pain. But these, you just glide around. They're great.
I was gonna say I'm a recent convert to these, but it's not really all that recent anymore.
No.
I had somebody bring these into a free motion quilting class that I was teaching a few years ago, and I spied them right away and went, I need to steal those from you. I have to try them out. And I fell in love with them from the second I had them under my machine. I used to wear the grabberoos, which are still my favorite gloves when I feel like I need to wear gloves, which is not very often now that I have these. But if you are still in the glove territory and don't want to get away from that, you're comfortable with them. I love the grabberoos. It's nice that they're not white. And
they don't show the dirt the way the machine
after
do.
a while,
they both work really well.
Yeah.
Either way, yeah.
I do find that the grabberoos are a little bit grippier than the machingers. If you just like a light grip, the machingers would probably be better for you. The grabberoos I find fit a little more snug, so they're not sort of shifting around while you're pushing your quilt. And of course these, I basically equate these to putting handles on your quilt.
That's true.
Because that's kind of what they're like.
Do. Yeah. Yeah. Very handy. And now for basting your quilt, if you've ever pinned a quilt and gone through the agony of all those safety pins, we have magic pins, and they have little handles on them, little plastic grips to make it easier on your hands when you're putting them in and taking them out, and they come in a little package. There.
So those are a pack of 20, I believe they are. So, you know, great for small projects, but if you're doing larger quilts, you'll want a few packs.
Yes. Indeed.
Unfortunately, some of these things, I believe the Wonder Pins are in limited quantities, as we've mentioned. So if you do get to the website and find that the little button for adding to your cart isn't working, that means they're all gone. Some of the items we were only able to guarantee that we could get a certain amount. So unfortunately this year we have had to limit them. So that just means get up early and shop early.
Exactly. What do we know what time each day things go live?
They'll be at midnight.
At midnight.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you're a night owl, you're in luck.
Yeah.
You're the first one in.
Yeah.
You want to talk about the books that we have?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. We have some great books to give you lots of inspiration. I know a lot of people are really nervous about plunging into free motion and not having a stitching line to follow or a marked line. But these books give you so many ideas, from really simple things like just doing wavy lines to adding to those simple things to make them more and more complex and interesting. And you can build your skills as you learn about the different patterns that they offer. So tons of ideas in all three books.
Probably my best tip would be, if you're having trouble, you know, just quilting and getting it out and you feel like you're struggling, is to doodle. You know, everybody talks about muscle memory. They're not talking about this. They're talking about this. I usually say you need to doodle something that you want to quilt until it feels as natural to you as writing the alphabet. That's really what it takes. So just sit at night while you're watching TV or talking on the phone if you're doing office work and, you know, have to do lots of conference calls. Just doodle. And eventually
it does make a huge difference.
Yeah. You'll sit down at the machine and all of a sudden you'll have all this doodling out on your quilt that you never thought you could have just pushed out without having it pre-marked before.
And the occasional glass of wine doesn't hurt either. just saying.
Sure.
Why not?
Encourage that.
Yeah, really.
So the unlimited quilting designs, free motion combinations are all free motion suggestions, ideas, inspiration for your doodling and your quilting. These two here by Amanda Murphy are great for ruler work, which we'll talk about as well. We have the Quilter Select. You all know they're our favorite cutting rulers. They have come out with the quilting rulers now as well. They've had the plain old straight one out for a while, and that is my absolute favorite for domestic machine quilting, because they have the same grip on the back of the rulers that the cutting rulers do. So they are designed for either long arm machines or high shank machines. But if you have a low shank machine, that doesn't mean you can't use it. You will just be restricted to 3 sides of the foot instead of being able to use it at the back as well if you have a low shank. So don't be afraid of using it or buying it to use if you have a low shank machine. Just realize that when you're using it, you won't be able to use it behind the foot. So we'll have 4 different options for their new quilting rulers, and they're all different sizes of clamshells. And these are fantastic because they actually have the guidelines for your next set
so
that you can line them up properly. A lot of the clamshell rulers, and I have some for my long arm, don't actually have those. And it doesn't make for very easy quilting, let me tell you. So those are fantastic that they've thought about that beforehand.
And I love that they have the little holes in them. That must make them very easy to keep in place as you move your
so fantastic.
Yeah.
I've seen people with long arms, and I even had some myself that had like little knobs or handles on the rulers, and I hated them. I hated anything being in my way. But with those holes, you can actually just kind of sink the tip of your finger into them, and it's not in your way. Yeah. Or you can not use them at all. They're not obtrusive. They're not obstructive. They're just fantastic. It was a brilliant idea.
Yeah, even the little straight one has the holes in it.
If you haven't gotten into ruler work yet, you'll need a ruler foot. Don't just try and use the rulers with your FreeMotion quilting foot, because you'll end up breaking your machine. Yeah. You need a ruler with a ruler foot. You can see here that it has a slightly thicker shank, or thicker, not a shank, but the base, yeah. So the ruler can actually butt up against the edge of this. Depending on your machine, that will determine which one you get. We have the low shank and the high shank available, and we'll have information on both of those pages as to which machines they work for. There is a medium shank as well. Unfortunately, there's no stock in that right now, so we can't offer it. But if you require a medium shank, we can always order one in for you. It just may take a little longer, and we weren't able to offer it during the reindeer games. So there's one caveat to the Quilter Select rulers, in that I want you to take notes, because they're not available for purchase today. We have a special deal for you on Quilter Select Day, which is still to come, and they will be available then. So watch for them then. Take your notes today as to which ones you want, and then buy them on Quilter Select Day. Everything else is ready to go for today, though.
Today, and today only, right?
What else did we have to talk about?
I think we covered everything on the table.
I think we did. Well, that means we're done.
Okay, then.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Merry Christmas.
Happy quilting.